where we have President-elect Donald Trump. All right, I'm going to take a pause for the calls. Let's talk to this caller. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, Ben, this is Nick from Oregon.
Nick, how's it going, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, it's going good. Hey, so I just wanted to, before you go to your post-mortem, which is totally necessary, I just wanted to bring up when you're talking about opposing Donald Trump. So obviously we got to, hit from day one, got to, make sure he doesn't get these things through. And I'm just wondering if you could maybe alliterate a little bit to what kind of the method is of that. Like, we see a lot of protests right now about just his candidacy in general, but specifically, and I'm thinking a la Bernie Sanders, obviously, what's our involvement in the process, in the congressional process, to stop him, as opposed to just being, just saying, oh, well, I don't support this and I'm not going to do it.
We only have one method right now of stopping Donald Trump, and that's the filibuster in the Senate. The Senate is already positioning themselves to override the filibuster, but most people are reluctant to do that simply because if they get rid of the filibuster, that means when they are no longer in power, the filibuster won't be there for them. All of the protests that we see, all of those things that we see, none of it at all. None of it is going to stop Donald Trump. That's just the reality of it. None of the protests that are going on right now, they're nice, they're great. I'm glad that they are there, but they are not going to stop Donald Trump. We have to use the power of the filibuster, and we have to hold the line, and we have to wage a political campaign against the Republican Party from stopping the filibuster, from removing the filibuster. That's what we have to do. And once we do that, once we stop them from getting rid of the filibuster, then we have a course of action. Now, but if they get rid of the filibuster, the truth of the matter is that's it. That's it. They're going to be able to do whatever they want to do over the next 4 years. And all we could do is sit back and watch and try to make them undo it, undo it after he's gone.
Right. Well, like I said, here's hoping that we have more ways than, just the filibuster. Here's hoping some civil community organizing action, whatever it may be, can, really make a difference in this process. But either way, good to call in. I hope you'll address my topic soon, and had a good show.
Oh, yeah. Thanks a lot, man. Definitely will. Appreciate the call. 857-600-0518. So apparently I am live on YouTube. I'm just not showing video. So guys, hang tight. I have video for you in a second. I'm going to take this caller. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, Ben, this is Yaki.
Hey, man, how's it going, man? Thanks for the call. What's on your mind?
It's all right. It feels nice to be vindicated.
To be honest with you, it sucks, to be honest with you, man. Some things you don't want to be right on, right? And this is one of those things that you don't necessarily want to be right about this kind of situation.
Yeah, but I'm a cynic, so it works out. But yes, I understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
My question is, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, we work from day one against Donald Trump. Makes complete sense. My question is, should we, and also do you think that the Democrats will, work against him on the legislation that is semi-progressive? Because you know how the Republicans are going to pitch it as, trying to benefit the common man and whatnot. So do we completely filibuster to our detriment the same way that the Republicans did on legislation that would be kind of good for the common man?
So no, that would be kind of 100% hypocritical to everything I stand for. If they come down the pipe with something that is remotely progressive, it would be disingenuous for us to do so, to oppose him. That is exactly what the Republicans did to themselves. We want to have principled opposition. I am of the belief, though, I'm 100% of the belief that he's going to give us 9 out of 10 opportunities to oppose him, because regardless of what he has said, he needs now the Republican infrastructure, because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And the Republican infrastructure is going to make sure that he is going to acquiesce to the standard Republican positions. So I'm almost certain 9 times out of 10, if that 10th thing is actually progressive, then so be it. You know, we're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot just for the sake of being you know what, assholes. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call. I think let's keep going to this. Let's try this here. All right. So YouTube, as soon as you see me, tell me that you see me and I'll stop clicking buttons. 857-600-0518 is the number to call if you want to join the conversation. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we should oppose him every step of the way, unless he legitimately sends us something that is, thank you, awesome, YouTube, unless he legitimately sends us something that is progressive, right? If he sends us something that is progressive, if he legitimately opposes the TPP, then hell, I think we should all get behind him and oppose the TPP. I just don't think that's going to be the reality. One, if the Republicans are in charge, which they are. Look at the people he's going to surround himself with. All right. That being said, all right, let me take this last caller. Caller, if you don't mind cutting down your radio, we are back on YouTube. The video is up. The audio is up. This is what I get for sharing the stream. Thanks, David. I appreciate you, hanging out. We had a lot of people last night. But, getting this thing working again is always a mystery. Caller, you're live on the air, though. What's your name, comment, or question?
Hey, Ben, this is Bryce. What's going
Hey,
on?
my dude, Bryce. What's on your mind, man?
Well, sadly, we are here today to mourn our country because obviously everybody is going crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm laughing
But of
because
course,
it's hilarious. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I have no fear. I'm not scared, nothing like that. So I'm not running for the hills.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we got to fight as progressives, and in 2 years,
Yeah.
the house can flip, so we can at least take some of the damage away.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4 years, we get a progressive and get him out of there, and then we'll get back to getting the country together. But at the end of the day, outside of the racists and other crazy people that voted, the DNC,
Yep.
the establishment,
Yep.
it's their fault.
Yep.
It's not your fault, my fault, none of the progressives, none of the shows, none of the progressive shows, nobody. It's the DNC fault, and this is what they get. And now the establishment, I think, and it's hard to say this, but this is the wake-up call, and I think this might end up getting money out of politics, getting out of Wall Street,
Yep.
and I think we can really get the country back to where we need to be. We just have to go through this little tough patch.
Yeah.
It sucks, but maybe this is what we needed in order for everybody to wake up on that level. And now we progressives can finally take over.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, man. Thanks for the call, Bryce. Always a pleasure talking to you. So I wanted to start off with, I'm going to give you that low hanging fruit for some liberals, neoliberals, some people who are frustrated tonight. I just wanted to give you that to let you know that I'm not going to 100% spend the next 4 years saying I told you so. I am going to spend the next 45 minutes saying I told you so, but not the next 4 years, right? The next 4 years, I have no problem looking to neoliberals who need recovery. Because ultimately, I'm a recovering neoliberal, right? I mean, most people who are born into this capitalistic system, until you realize what it actually is, you buy into it. And then once you realize what it is, you realize, oh, we need to do something different than what we're doing. So I was born into it, but bought into it, and then realized this is not the place to be. So, I mean, if I could be redeemed, they could be redeemed, right? So I don't want you to think I'm going to beat up on you in the next 4 years, but for the next 45 minutes, yeah, your ass is mine. Yeah. Your ass is mine. Because here's the thing. I don't want to say I told you so, but you could go and check my receipts. Hillary Clinton lost definitively. You can add together 100% of Jill Stein's votes, and you still would not get a victory for Hillary Clinton. And in some imaginary world, people now believe that Gary Johnson's votes would have remotely gone to Hillary Clinton. And so they're saying, oh, it's the concept of third parties altogether. Because if they hadn't voted for Gary Johnson, then they would have voted for Hillary Clinton. Anyone telling you that back my microphone away. Anyone telling you that either knows absolutely nothing about political ideologies, nothing about this election cycle, or nothing. Actually, I'm sorry. The third option is they're just trying to manipulate you, and they're trying to find a scapegoat, and they're trying to find a way to not make their asses look culpable in this mess. Two people I've seen apologize for this, and because I'm petty, I rejected them initially, but I'm going to be a little bit bigger than that and accept them. Jamel Bowie, right? He admitted he was completely wrong about this election. Yes, Jamel, you were completely wrong, and we've been telling you that for a very long time. But, you know, admitting admission is what step of grieving, right? I think he's just trying to hurry along the steps of grieving, right? And then Touré, you know, he hasn't been horrible in this election, but he was right alongside with them. He admitted that he was a Hillary Clinton supporter, and now he realizes that maybe Bernie Sanders was the way. Well, you know, I'm not going to say no shit, Sherlock, but no shit, Sherlock. But you've apologized, and we'll be the bigger people, and you know, we'll move on from here. But out of those, everybody else has gone into this, let's blame somebody, instead of blaming a candidate that got 7 million fewer Democrats to turn out than Barack Obama got to turn out in 2012. Instead of looking at her and saying, well, maybe she just wasn't as popular as we wanted her to be. Maybe she wasn't as Queen Slay we wanted her to be. Maybe she wasn't maybe she wasn't as stronger together as we wanted her to be. Maybe she just was the wrong choice, right? And don't get me wrong, in about 5 minutes, I'm going to leave Hillary Clinton alone forever. I have no desire to relitigate the primaries. I have no desire to drag the Clintons through the mud for the next 4 years. I have every desire to wish them a bon voyage, you know, go. Make your money, be lobbyists, go and do your thing. Godspeed. We thank you for your service, but your services are no longer needed, right? And we'll leave it at that. I will not bound on the Clintons after tonight because we have a brand new fight to fight. We have to fight the people in the DNC who are still there. They need to go. Clinton's gone. Clintonism was repudiated last night, right? Clinton is gone. Clintonism should not be revived. The DLC should not be revived. The neoliberal wing of the Democratic Party should not maintain power, and that is the immediate fight, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the fight starting January 20th. The fight starting tonight is the Democrats that remain who think that they can make a model out of democratic, progressive, left-leaning politics in America after Clintonism. They asses need to go. All the way around the board. So this is my last time hitting on Hillary Clinton because I think other people lost last night that don't even realize they lost. I think people who lost last night that don't realize they lost are the people who can't talk about anything but negative Hillary Clinton. Those people. Like, I can name some names. I almost feel like naming some names, but I'm not going to name the names. You can name them in the chat room, right? There's some pundits, there's some writers, there's some people on the left. I like their work generally. Some of them, I don't like their work at all. It's crappy. But all you can do is blame everything on Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And I'm really curious to see what quality work you're going to put out now that you don't have Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama to blame. But that's me being petty. I'm hitting everybody tonight. I'm coming to everybody tonight who I'm just giving it out. I'm giving it out. Hell, I'll probably give it to myself in a few minutes. Now, getting back to what I said. Hillary Clinton, last time hitting on her. But she just was a weak candidate. And the models were so wrong that nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming, except those of us who said, this is a change election. This is a change election in the sense that not just a change from one Democrat to another, not a change from a man to a woman, but a change from establishment to non-establishment. And we gave them the quintessential establishment candidate in Hillary Clinton, and the Republicans gave them the quintessential outsider, even though he's an insider, right? It's an oxymoron, but to them, they thought he was an outsider. And so there was no way that Hillary Clinton could have won. And I knew this. David, he knew it last night when Wisconsin went for, or when Russ Feingold didn't win Wisconsin, the Senate race. We were like, that's a wrap. Somewhere around 9 o'clock, it was a wrap. That's because Donald Trump remade the electorate in his own image. Yes, there is a racial component to it, but let's not be overly simplistic. There's a lot more going on, and we'll break it all down. I got some charts and stuff to show you, but let me address the race issue. Yes, there are some rabidly racist pieces of crap who came out in droves, who are so excited, the least of which is not David Duke in the KKK that did the endorsement, not just those flagrant racists, but those wealthy racists who like to pretend that they're not racist until such time it's convenient for them to be dicks and to be assholes and to be racist, right? Those people who called in on the live show with David Pakman last night, they're not racist every day. They're just opportunistic racists when they think it's funny to be racist and they got enough money to joke around like that. They don't, they're not living next to black people racists, right? So yes, there are a lot of racists who participated in the election last night, no question. However, the data shows us that Hillary Clinton did not play as well in the white vote as Barack Obama did in 2012. That's just what the data shows. The data shows that that Hillary Clinton did not get as much of the white vote as Barack Obama did. So it's not clean cut, oh, this was all about race. No, it's more about white people finding somebody that they like less than black people. That's what this really is about. They really came to the conclusion that we would rather have Obama, a black man that we don't even think really is an American, we would rather have him than Hillary Clinton. Because how else can you explain the shift in the percentages of white voters that she got? The second reason she lost is because she simply did not motivate her base. African Americans turned out at a lower rate. Millennials turned out at a lower rate. Democrats on whole turned out at a lower rate. 7 million fewer Democrats. And y'all sitting here worried about the 0.96% that Jill Stein got when 7 million of your own Democrats did not show up. Like, let me see. Is this David Brooks on the line? I mean, not David, Michael Brooks. Is this you?
That's definitely not David Brooks, dude.
What's going on, man?
Shit.
I know. I tried you with that, but no.
Man?
Hey, man, listen. Ladies and gentlemen, no. I'm joined by Michael Brooks on the line. I wanted him to call in. And what do you think? Let's take a few minutes because. Listen, my whole show is off tonight. My whole order of everything is off. Right. I wanted to be talking about President Fuckface von Clownstick when you got here, but things got so far behind that I'm here talking about Hillary.
Hashtag disrespect.
Hashtag disrespect. Let's take we're going to take a cold, hard segue here with Michael Brooks from the Majority Report, and we're going to talk about just the level of disdain that we are going to show to Donald Trump over the next 4 years, man. First of all, man, how are you feeling about this race? And just talk about something for me real quick.
I mean, look, let me just say 3 quick things. So one, to be really blunt, and I know everybody who listens to the Majority Report knows, like, I actually straight up left early in the show today just because I've been, like, literally physically sick. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Number 2, I think that it's very important. I just got back from a dinner I had with my good friend, Phil McKenzie, my co-host on Two Dope Boys. I think it's very important, that people, that you realize that, obviously we say it like a cliche, it's a divided country, but your communities, your networks, there's a lot of people, actually a little bit more than half of the country that will, resist this, that won't go along with it. Yeah. And the resistance is big. Number 3, and I'm no interest whatsoever in score settling. And that I thought a lot of this shit about the primary was really overblown and people drew the wrong lessons of it. But look, the whole husk of the old establishment of the Democratic Party
Needs to
is
go.
done.
Yeah.
It's done. It needs to go. Bill Clinton was elected twice president in the 1990s because he's a charismatic dude. That's it. There's no political genius at work. There's no incredible extra skill or reading of the landscape. I think that Hillary Clinton absolutely was a victim of sexism and misogyny, and it's disgusting. And the FBI played an almost coup-like role in this race. But the bottom line is that it was, it was a beyond winnable race.
Yeah.
These people do not know what they're doing. They're insulated in money and elitism and the old systems of money and elitism. And right now, basically, the leaders of the Democratic Party are, in fact, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. And I pray to God, I just have to say, because this is so important. This is so crucial that, there's going to be a million groups that pop up in the next little while, saying like, we got to, rethinking the left. What's the next strategy? How to survive under Trump? And I know, obviously, Ben and you and I and other people have those kind of conversations. The same people who have been failing for the last several decades are going to be getting foundation money and contracts to do those groups. And I'm not trying to like take away anybody's livelihood. And maybe if someone comes and says, look, I'm humble, I fucked up, I'm wrong, but I have a particular skill set, how can I contribute? That's fine. But if it's like, we went from, this think tank to this campaign and we fucked everything up and now we have $10 million to fight for climate in the Trump age, get the fuck out of here.
Absolutely,
you need to put money and resources to new people and do new things, because this is absolutely unacceptable.
Dude,
and it's on that husk, that dead husk.
It has to go, man. You said it last night, or today. We were talking earlier today. You were like, they've made this model around. They've made projections. They've made maps. They've made estimations. They predicted. They created entire infrastructure or financial infrastructure. They created all of these things based on the idea that they could replicate Bill Clinton. And the fact of the matter is, we've not had a charismatic, but the person that we had that was equally as charismatic as Bill Clinton ran against the Clinton machine and beat it, because the Clinton machine could not reproduce someone as charismatic as Bill Clinton. They've never been able to do that. They would not be able. So this is the opportune time. And this is what I want to tell. I'll talk about the Green Party later, but I want to tell all the progressives this. This is your opportunity to walk dead smack into a Democratic Party meeting right now tonight. Matter of fact, stop listening to the show and go to a meeting. They're happening right now. Take the emails that show how complicit the DNC was. Take your data and show them that it was not the fault of Jill Stein, and demand that they clean house. Every party from top to bottom, local, state, federal, everywhere, needs to be cleaned. Every bit of Clintonism needs to be purged and erased out of the system, and start from scratch from the left. That's what needs to happen right now today. Go ahead, Dave. Michael.
No, I mean, look, I agree completely. And I think the other big thing about this campaign is there's an argument that in some ways we're going to need to stop having, and we're going to need to synthesize, this whole thing. And look, I'm with it. I think that identity politics has been used in some incredibly stupid and destructive ways to undermine progressive economic arguments. And that was done by the Clinton campaign in the primary. On the flip, I definitely think that there's some people who they focus on the economic to the detriment of understanding other complexities. And you know what? The conclusion of this race is that they were both right. I mean, look, if you had, I think, a real robust economic case and a candidate that inspired people, then the numbers would track up. I think Barack Obama would have won this race. I think Joe Biden would have won this race. I think Bernie might have, and I think Elizabeth Warren probably would. So that's important. But on the flip side, she ran into a barge of, white hatred. And, yes, if we dig into the specifics of the numbers, and I agree with you, Barack actually did better with whites than she did. And there's a variety inside the Trump voting bloc. But there is a chunk. There is a real chunk where it really is about race. It really is about gender. That's why you saw some of the districts in the country that had the best job recovery went for Trump. and that's that identity shit.
Mm.
So, we need to deal with both.
Yeah.
Not one at the excuse of the other, but people need to stop, balkanizing, getting into these dumb arguments, and really thinking robustly. And, the thing is now is that, we've been off in all these petty conflicts, and now all of it is going to be under assault. The whole thing, because the agenda from the Republicans is to fortify 21st century servitude, make inequality worse, give corporations every type of power imaginable, roll back the environment, and have the assaults on, people of color, gay people, lesbian, transgender people, Muslims, and everybody else. And frankly, to a significantly lesser degree, and not legally, but even just have the cultural battle within whiteness. Yeah. I mean, I was joking with somebody. I got to get in front of the Trump Tower and be like, "Oh, I would like to restore my whiteness in good standing, please." But I'm just playing. I'm obviously way too far gone for that.
Nah, man, you're
said
out of
and
the
done
club,
far too many things. I'm out.
Yeah, you're out.
Too much time on your show. Too much time on.
You hang around with black people too much, man. So listen, I agree with you. I agree. You can't hang around this many black people and still be cool with the Donald Trump badge. Because listen, you said something really key.
It's not gonna happen.
There's something really key that you said. Number one, you said that there's some counties that had wonderful recoveries that turned on Obama and went for Donald Trump, right? If they had an economic recovery and things are good in their community, it's really clear that this was like a backlash against Barack Obama. On the flip side, there are some other factors in play. There are some communities that push back against Barack Obama that went for Obama that just refused to go for Hillary Clinton. And so it's a combination of all the above, right? You do have racism involved in this. You do have sexism involved in this. You have sexism from women. You have women who just straight out say, we don't want that woman, or we don't want a woman, right? I've heard it all. And part of the equation simply is that they hate Hillary Clinton more than they hated Barack Obama. So it's not super complex, but it's not a single trope like a lot of the journalists are trying to make it. They're trying to say this is basically third party fault.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I know we'll get to this other stuff in a second, but I just got to say it really quick. This is what my beef, with President Obama is that, and I've said so many times, I mean, I'm a critic politically and policy-wise who just likes the man and appreciates his leadership. Yeah. So that's, my perspective on Obama. But the thing with Barack Obama is that he used his legacy will be a positive one in many respects. Some of it will get undone. Some of it will be re-reviewed and not look so good, like the Wall Street stuff and certain parts of foreign policy. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he beat the Clintons only to create a vehicle for him, essentially. And it's a decent vehicle, and he will be an important historical figure. But there wasn't an alternative infrastructure, even within, frankly, because his politics and the Clinton politics are quite similar. Yeah. But there still wasn't even a sense of like a new and distinct infrastructure for some type of like 21st century centrism.
But you know why?
Yeah, why do you think?
It's 100% because they could not have an existing structure to compete with the Clinton structure. Right, the Clintons, Obama either agreed to do it directly, or the Clintons made sure that there would not be a competing infrastructure. Because let's be real, put Obama's machine behind Bernie Sanders, and there is no President Fuckface von Clownstick. There is no President Trump. So they made sure that organized OFA that's gone the way of the dinosaurs, and I'm sure Barack Obama has something to do with it directly. Maybe he just didn't have the desire to see this thing last in perpetuity like the Clinton machine. But also you can't have two masters trying to share the same throne. So that's my take.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. No, that's true. And from the beginning, though, with OFA, it was about a personal relationship that he had with the constituency. It wasn't about a policy agenda. Yeah. And I think that's that's the bigger, and that's why you get a situation where, because even when you talk about those whites, I mean, I remember an anecdote from 2012, which was amazing to me, because I assume if this woman is still around, I'm sure she voted for Donald Trump. They went to West Virginia, which, is a state that, Obama didn't even win. And they found a woman who, she was like, I don't care what he says. Barack Obama's a Muslim.
Yeah.
And, she went down the list, blah, blah. And then the hook in the article is like what made it not like a million other articles that were written was that she was voting for him over Romney. And she's like, better to be a Muslim than have a silver spoon in your mouth. And I think, even though I don't really trust him and I don't think he's a Christian, I think he probably will keep an eye out for me more than Mitt Romney. Wow. Now, I am sure that woman did not think that Hillary Clinton
was going to do the same for her.
Now, that's optics. Yeah, it's optics, and that's not how I would vote. But if you don't build a foundation for governance and models of governance, then it is just going to come down to those choices. And then you pick a mediocre candidate. Yeah. Boom. There you go.
Every single time. Mike, people are saying that we should be respectful to President Donald Trump, President-elect Donald Trump. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that?
First of all, I was talking about it with Phil. I will never call him my president. He's not. And not only that, I mean, look, also because let's not even miss within all of this that the only reason he is president is because of another antiquated, insane institution that progressives should have been fighting decades to overturn, the Electoral College. I mean, he did not actually get more votes than Hillary Clinton. We should not entirely forget that. And look, I mean, the dude is, on some level, I guess I respect the hustle. That's the only thing. But mentally unhinged, racist, bigot, buffoon, jackass, and the fucking Klan. Yeah. And all of these people are not my people. Yeah. They're criminals. They're racist. They're stupid. They're disgusting. They might even be borderline into incest. And those are not my people. They're my political enemies. And they need to lose. They need to go. That's it. I mean, that's it. So you'll never hear me. You never catch me saying anything good about the man. Ever.
See me.
Wake me up in my sleep. I'll be like, he's orange. What?
Dude, and then the real talk to me is this is what it is for me. Listen, I have a lot of disagreements with President Obama. But one of the reasons I am triggered to always defend President Obama is the unprecedented disrespect that the Republicans showed this president. And it made it even worse that he was the first black president. So, it's underneath my skin to see every time they disrespected him. I have zero responsibility to respect Donald Trump by virtue of what Republicans have shown us over the last 8 years. I will show Donald Trump 10% less respect than they show, because there's a tax. You got to pay a tax, motherfuckers. You got to pay a tax for how you treated President Obama. The 10% tax, I'm going to treat Donald Trump 10% worse than you treated Barack Obama. And I don't want to hear a single Democrat come to me and say, oh, you better, respect the office. No. I don't have to respect the office when you've spent the last 8 years undermining the office. And what we have to be careful to do is not put ourselves in the position where we constantly try to be the bigger people and always acquiesce to people who will never budge for us no matter what the situation is. That will put us in a constant position of always cowering before Republicans who are essentially acting like terrorists. They won't give us an inch, but demand everything from us. And it's time out for that, man. We've done that enough.
No, I mean, look, President Obama, if he came out and said, look, I want to be clear, I apologize, but I'm a Muslim, and I'm going to pass the Ryan budget, they would have been like, yeah, but he should resign. He's so arrogant. Yeah. I mean, the treatment of Barack Obama was disgusting. And I mean, my thing is too, is that this is the other problem in popular discourse around these things is we interpret very deep and profound truths that might be exemplified in there's a Jewish theologian who influences me named Martin Buber who writes about I and thou relationships versus I and it relationships, or someone like Nelson Mandela who is able to recognize humanity while still being a shrewd tactician and strategist and revolutionary is entirely different than this sort of Sunday morning stuffed-faced bloviating. Yes. About like, well, yeah, I mean, we got to give him a chance. I mean, no, the reality is
we
that
don't.
You have signified, first of all, no, we don't need to give him anything. And secondly, what has happened is that we, through a variety of reasons, from the nature of the Republican Party, going back to Ronald Reagan announcing his candidacy in a town where civil rights workers were murdered and talking about, states' rights, to Richard Nixon being a domestic criminal through Barack Obama and what they did to him. This is a party that has emboldened bigotry, criminality, misogyny, cruelty, and advocates bullying. And then what happened is he came along, and this dude was just like, well, wait a second, I can actually do that.
Yes.
I don't need to speak in subtext. I do grab women by the pussy. I mean, whatever. She's a 3. It's fine. And that's is what it is. And the truth. And I don't respect any of it. I think you have created a context where and this is something that some of my sort of people that annoyed me on the left.
Yes.
They didn't even get it. It's as simple as you sent a message to a kid that got bullied because they have a burqa or because they have a Mexican name or they're from Somalia and they're getting called fucking porch monkey while they play soccer in Lewiston, Maine by parents on the other team. You have sent a signal to all those kids that they are wrong and that the people calling them and bullying them are right. And it's disgusting. I'll never respect it. I'll never pretend to respect it. And I will do nothing besides fight it.
I fight it every single day, like never. And see, they need us, Michael. They need us because you know what? I don't care. I'm not getting anything from the system, so why would I care to be subservient to the system? I owe them nothing. They owe me nothing. But they need us to hold the line in this manner. They need us to be the crazy ones on the left so that they can try to deal with the more moderate ones and the not to the center. Like we're done with that, right? When I say moderate ones, I'm talking about Bernie Sanders, right? They need to realize that we are crazy over here and that we are just as determined as they are. We are just as intransigent if we need to be as they are. We will up the ante on anything. We will always escalate to the next level. That's us over here. That's our job. It's going to be the job of the statesman to actually let them know, okay, you don't want to deal with them over there on the far left, so deal with me, Bernie Sanders, right? That's what we have to set up. And I don't mind being the bad guy because we have too many pundits, we have too many quote unquote journalists who are always trying to ingratiate themselves to power by kowtowing to it, and we never get anything done.
Well, and that's also what led to this situation. Again, the real irony to me is that I don't there's a part of me, there's this sort of rough and tumble part of me which likes all this brawling, but I'm into having a nice, NPR style seminar and talking things out. Okay. All right. I have these different parts of my personality, but the reality is that I guess, I think some of it just comes down to life experience. You need to recognize who and what you're dealing with. And before Donald Trump came along, and he's, the worst and latest iteration, but you got to know what you're and who you're dealing with. And these are people that don't, as you say, they don't give an inch. And that's completely distinct from, if you want to say like what Van Jones is attempting to do, which I'm not sure I, really think it's fruitful, but if you want to say, I want to figure out, quote unquote, someone who works at a, Walmart somewhere who voted for Trump or whatever, and you want to do some type of civic dialogue, maybe some projects like that could be fruitful. But in the world we're in, political operatives, of journalists, of people that this is their careers, man. Yeah. This is it. And the thing is, too, that, you go back to, I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but I am pissed. But look at Megyn Kelly for a second, okay? Now, it's disgusting that she was harassed by Roger Ailes. It's terrible and deplorable how Donald Trump treated her. But this is a woman who, we in our side, as you were alluding to, we're so quick to, look at Megyn Kelly standing up. Okay, that's fine. Give her credit. I know how she built her career. Yes. She built her career on deplorable fucking race baiting, just shy of what Donald Trump says. And actually, I have to say, ironically, Donald Trump has randomly said things specifically about African Americans, which are actually far more compassionate and interesting than anything Megyn Kelly has ever said. And I don't say that to put him on a pedestal, because fuck him, but I'm saying fuck all of them, and you need to realize what you're dealing with.
The only person who comes on the show and cusses more than me is Michael Brooks, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all give Michael Brooks a hand. Oh man, Michael, you actually make me blush with your cussing, man. And I cuss quite a bit, but we're not on radio, so who cares, right? You're absolutely right, man. We do these symbolic gestures of, we always try to say, oh, this person is such a good, or they're a better person. We try to do the comparison game and say Megyn Kelly is better than Donald Trump. No, Megyn Kelly is pretty much the person that help bring us Donald Trump, right? We try to do, oh, the North Carolina GOP office got burned down. Let's be the better humans, everybody, and let's raise money for them. No, let them stay shut down.
And you know what, Benjamin? You know what, man? There is a fucking community garden in the Bronx that was shut down. I think it was there. I don't even remember why. It might have been vandalized. It might have been a fire. But the point is that they didn't meet their fundraising targets to open up this garden again. Or, you know what? I'll be more opportunistic, man. You know what? Like, why don't you throw some people that are doing analysis and opinion and building new ideas and new narratives? Throw them something.
Yeah.
Why don't you throw money to the fucking Audubon? I mean, there are literally millions of better ways to spend your money, including like going out and getting drunk and finding a girl or a man or whatever your thing is to hook up with. The fact
besides
that money
to the North Carolina GOP, who have made the lives of transgendered Americans so much more difficult than any of us can even imagine. But we want to say, oh, we can play nice. We want to be so they desperately need us to be the bad guys. And I mean, I'm down for it. How about you?
Yeah, I think we got that covered. I remember, man, I was on a panel once on HuffPost Live. And it was, actually the Republican dude that was on it, in some ways, he's actually a very nice guy. He's probably, in some ways, the nicest person to deal with on the panel, because there was a bunch of these kind of pseudo-centrists who were way more irritating. But I remember at one point in the conversation, we were talking about poverty, and somebody said something effective like, well, we all disagree about how to address it, but we all, of course, want to get rid of poverty. And I remember I cut in. I was like, that's not true. Most people on that side, they think if you're poor, it's because you suck.
Yeah.
And that's what they believe. I have a fundamentally different belief, which leads to a fundamentally different politics.
Outcome. Yeah.
And we must get real about that. And we ran the play, because we ran the play now was like, yeah, let's have it's Hillary's turn. Let's run a campaign that really is just based off of the fact that Donald Trump is unacceptable.
Yeah.
We did it. We ran the play, and there's all the great analytics and the fundraisers and he's such a buffoon, and we played into it too.
Dude.
And look, this is how it turned out.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, everything fell down, all of it. Ads, it doesn't matter. He didn't run. What did she have, like a 10-to-1 spending, or even higher than that on ad spends? Ground game. They had over the weekend. They had 7 million phone calls made, 8 million doors knocked on over the weekend. Ground game didn't matter. Ads didn't matter. Jay-Z, Beyonce, none of them mattered. All that mattered was Donald Trump was able to mobilize his base with anger and Twitter, and that's how he beat Hillary Clinton. We'll get into the data in a minute, but Michael, I don't know. I'm stuck on calling you David tonight. I know you are not David Brooks. Of all people, you're not David Brooks.
And I'm like the most non-David person you've ever met in your life.
You absolutely are. But this is honestly, to be honest with you, this is a result of David, my producer, calling in right before you called in. So that's why I have David in my head. And David, it happens, man.
All right, David. We'll take it up later.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, thanks so much for joining me, man. We'll have to get you back as often as we can.
Hey, Ben, we got to do a lot of things together. We got to really hang tight on this, and people really do need to, like, even in your interactions with friends and everything else, that there's solidarity, there's work to do, and hang tight, and let's do it. So I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. 857-600-0518 if you want to join the conversation. Be sure to check out Michael Brooks, not only on the Majority Report, but also check him out on Two Dope Boys and the podcast. When you check out the podcast, be sure to give the podcast a review on iTunes. I love having David.
No, you're just messing with me at this point.
No. I messed up again. I'm sorry. I love having Michael here on the show. And I thought I disconnected the call. Bye, Mike. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, let's talk about the data, man. Let's look at the data, and let's really see how Hillary Clinton lost, and let's see how she didn't lose. Right, because there's some disingenuous arguments that are going forward that are beneath the intellect, that a person with the degrees that they have should be espousing, right? There are some narratives that are just so erroneous being passed around that we really need to shut it down so that we can understand, because if we don't understand, we are very likely to repeat ourselves. And before I even start the segment again, I want to just stress one more time that if you are a progressive or whatever you call yourself and you are disappointed with how this election went, you should make sure that everyone who's responsible for this loss is removed from the Democratic Party on the local level, state level, and national level. Shout out to Florida. I said it last night, but special shout out to Florida for running yet again another sorry candidate, Patrick Murphy. Sorry as hell. That's how we keep losing. Run weak candidates and you're gonna lose. Sorry, Patrick, but you have no grounding in progressive politics. You have no grounding. I mean, you couldn't even convince the people that you weren't a former Republican. And I think he was one of the ones that signed on that letter saying that we want a special screening by the FBI for the Syrian refugees. Keep running weak candidates, and you're going to keep getting the same results. And what I'm saying to people who are frustrated, get the people out of power who are running these weak candidates, who are ignoring the left, who are ignoring the progressive base. You know why? Because they're not going to learn from their mistakes. And you know why else? Because if the queen is gone, why the hell should anyone else be here? Queen Slay Hillary is gone off the scene, and she should take everyone with her who failed her and replace it with, okay, here's the other thing, right? And actually, I'm going to start here. You guys forgive me. I know I'm about to lose a lot of followers right here, but the truth is the truth. And I told you I would tell you the truth, even if you don't like it. Number one, Jill Stein did not lose Hillary Clinton the election last night. Let's start there. Jill Stein did not lose Hillary Clinton the election last night. Hillary Clinton lost in almost a landslide. If you look at the map, look, this is what it ended up being: 279 to 228. I believe there are still some states that are not completely decided on, right? But Arizona hasn't been put in the tally. That's leaning towards Donald Trump. Michigan has not been put in the tally. That's leaning towards Donald Trump. That should put him over 300. That is a complete repudiation of Hillary Clinton. Now, I put that map up there because I need you to see how badly she lost, so that everyone who's telling you that it's the Green Party's problem, it's their fault, it's Jill Stein, it's third-party voters, they're trying to tell you that. No, this is why I know it's not the problem. This is the nice screen grab that I got. Someone did the math for me. Shout out to you on Twitter. I'm sorry I don't have your name handy. I didn't put this together, but someone on Twitter did. If you look at the vote totals in Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, which are the three states that Donald Trump had to get to win, and those are the exact three states that he got to win, you'll see Donald Trump got a margin of 129,000 votes in Florida. Jill Stein's vote in Florida was 63,000. You could give Hillary Clinton 100% of Jill Stein's votes in Florida, and she still would have lost Florida. Let's look at that graphic again. In Pennsylvania, there's a difference, and this is as of noon today. I'm sure the numbers are fluctuating some, but this is as of noon of November 9th. Pennsylvania, there was a spread of 68,000 in Pennsylvania. Jill Stein only got 49,000. Donald Trump still would have won Pennsylvania. Ohio, there was a difference. This was a thrashing. This was a demolishing. This was demolishing. This was devastating. Donald Trump won by a margin of 456,000 votes. Jill Stein only got 44,000 of those votes, period. In Ohio, there's no way in hell you can blame Jill Stein for Hillary Clinton losing, even if you give her the states that she would have won. So let's go one step further. I did this electoral map, right? This is what Jill Stein, this is what Hillary Clinton could have gotten if Jill Stein was not in the race. If Jill Stein was not in the race, you see Wisconsin is different. Wisconsin would have gone blue, and Michigan would have gone blue. Right now, Michigan is leaning red, and it looks like it's going to go to Donald Trump. But if Jill Stein had not come into the race at all, Hillary Clinton would have won Wisconsin and Michigan, and everything else plays out like it plays. Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania still would have gone to Donald Trump. Donald Trump still would have gotten 276 electoral votes. Donald Trump still would have beat Hillary Clinton if you take Jill Stein 100% out of the equation. Now, I wanted to talk about this later, but this is the appropriate time to talk about it. You have people who are going as far as saying, yes, but if you take out Jill Stein and you take out Gary Johnson, then Hillary Clinton would have won. Well, hell, if we take out Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton could have won. This is from Rachel Maddow, who I have a very special segment on later on. She said, in Florida, Hillary Clinton lost by about 1.4% of the vote, but Jill Stein supporters and half of Gary Johnson backers had voted Democratic. If they did, Trump would have lost the state. In Pennsylvania, Clinton lost by 1.1%, but if all of Jill Stein supporters and half of Gary Johnson's backers had voted Democratic, Donald Trump would have lost the state. Wisconsin, Donald Trump would have lost the state. Michigan, Donald Trump would have lost the state. Yes, if all the people who did not vote for Hillary Clinton voted for Hillary Clinton, hell, she could be president of the world. It doesn't work like that, Rhodes Scholar, Ivy League, And she knows this, and she's smart enough for this to be like she does this in her sleep. She's what's her name again? Rachel Maddow, 100% knowledgeable of the fact that there is no scenario on earth where Jill Stein, 100% of Jill Stein supporters, that's like saying, oh, there is no party. There is no such thing as a Green Party. And the Green Party, all of you should absolutely be forced to vote for the Democratic Party, right? F democracy. But there's no scenario in the world where even if Jill Stein wasn't in the race, 100% of her voters would have gone to Hillary Clinton. At best, let's say at best, 75%. 75%, she still loses. And there's no way in the world 50% of libertarians are people who hated this entire election enough so that they voted for libertarians. There's no way 50% of them would have broken for the Democratic nominee. Do you even know what libertarians stand for? Their economic policies are further to the right than Republicans. They essentially want to do away with all income taxes and just give a consumption tax, right? And people are saying, oh, well, if they just voted for the Democratic Party, yeah, because there's really no difference between someone who wants to raise taxes like Hillary Clinton and someone who wants to abolish taxes like Gary Johnson. They're totally the same. Samesies. And Rachel Maddow knows this, yet she is pandering to this one narrative to try to save her reputation or to have someone to blame this on, instead of looking and saying, you know what? We are responsible for Donald Trump. We gave Donald Trump estimated $3 billion worth of free advertisement during the free media during the primaries. And not only is the media responsible for Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton and the DNC, they are responsible for Donald Trump. But they're looking for anybody and everyone to blame except the people who are the most culpable. And shame on you, Rachel Maddow. You are too smart not to know this. And because of that, I have to conclude that you are not only being disingenuous, but you are trying to delude your followers for the sake of maintaining your career. Hell, since I'm talking about her, I might as well put her on the screen. This is, and listen, it's what, no, what's the saying? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Like there's the thin line between love and hate. You know, I used to be a fan of Rachel Maddow. I used to be a fan of Joy Ann Reid, right? Until this election cycle showed otherwise. But to see the pounding of and one thing I hate more than anything else, to be honest with you, are people who mislead their listeners and their audience. That means you have a fundamental disrespect of your audience, and you don't deserve your audience because you don't respect them enough to play to their intelligence instead of playing to their fears. You are no better with this tweet right here. You are no better than Rush Limbaugh. Now, back to Jill Stein. All of that to say this. The Green Party didn't get even 1% in this national election that had a full-blown rebellion against the Democratic Party. The Green Party was not in position to capitalize on it, not even 1%. Normally, the saying is not even 1%. They didn't even get 1%. Did I just say the same thing? Not 1%. They didn't even get 1%. Whatever. You know what I mean. The last I checked, they had 0.96%. You can round it up if you want to, but I want the exact numbers for dramatic effect. The Green Party did not get 1% of the national vote in an election that was a complete repudiation of the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton. What does that mean? That I would be bad as Rachel Maddow if I didn't respect your intelligence and tell you the truth. That means that in 4 years, they will never be a power player to combat against Donald Trump. They won't. They are not in a position to be the place where people should expend their energy to try to beat back for Donald Trump. There is no way that they are going to go from 1% to 51% of the electorate in 2020. And because of the urgency of the moment, I would be lying to you if I said that's where you should expend your energy. My recommendation to you, and of course you are a free moral agent, do whatever the hell you want to do. But if you ask me for my advice, and you're at my show, so I imagine at some point of the show you want my advice. If you were to ask me what I should do, I would say take the emails from WikiLeaks, who I've got some beef with. We'll talk about WikiLeaks in a minute. Y'all know I don't like WikiLeaks, but hell, they did us a favor. Take those emails from WikiLeaks that shows how complicit the DNC was with Hillary Clinton, not complicit, co-conspirators with Hillary Clinton, and show those emails to your local party and demand that everyone who was a part of this entire Clinton regime over the last 30 years sit down. Right now, today, across the country, there are civil wars happening in Democratic caucuses around the country, and you should be a part of it. And you should let them know that their day is over. Now, some of you are going to disagree. Some of you are going to say, well, we're going to go expend our energy with the Green Party. Good luck to you. 1% will never add up to 51% in 4 years. And we've got to beat Donald Trump. Not only do we have to beat Donald Trump, we have to beat him with a progressive candidate, and we're not going to get that progressive candidate strong enough to beat him from the Green Party, not by 2020. The data just doesn't bear it out. Yeah, Ben, but if you would start promoting the Green Party instead of talking bad about the Green Party, then maybe what happened? If you're waiting on my show with 100 some odd people watching right now to be the driving force behind the Green Party's success, they've already lost. Now, realistically, if someone on mainstream media, well, if Rachel Maddow all of a sudden got the Holy Ghost and saw the light and started pounding the drums for the Green Party, then yeah, maybe. But that's not my job. I don't have that platform. My platform is to tell you the truth as I see it, and the Green Party will not get us there by 2020. Maybe 2030. That's the wrong math. 24, 28, 30, 2032. Maybe 2032, they can get there. But this was a complete repudiation. This was the death of the DNC. They had a casket and everything. You had thousands, and not hundreds. You had thousands of protesters at the DNC for the Dem exit. And the Green Party was not able to capitalize on that energy. I'd be lying to you, and I think better of you than to try to push you on that route to say support the Green Party. Now, if you want to support the Green Party because you just want to support them and you're not concerned about getting rid of Donald Trump in 4 years, then absolutely do what you feel is best. But if you feel like we need to get rid of Donald Trump and replace him with a progressive candidate like Tulsi Gabbard or Nina Turner, then running them in the Green Party is absolutely a non-starter. It won't happen in 2020. All right. Now let's get back to Queen Slay Hillary. And actually, let me take this caller before I jump in. This caller has been so patient for 15 minutes waiting on the line. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and or question?
Hi, Ben. This is Vita.
Hey, Vita. I'm doing good. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine, too. I love it.
Well,
I love exposure.
I don't love it, but I ain't bothered by it. I'll be fine.
Because you know what? Remember the first time I called you when I talked about elitism and letting shit fall down? Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes we got to clean house because you have, even if when we move forward and we talk about solutions, and you talked about one thing I liked about going to the caucuses and so forth and showing the WikiLeaks and so forth. But it's a little bit more deeper than that. Because when you have a group of people with different ideologies and claim that they're progressives or liberal and so forth, but there has to be a test of vetting because they pretend like they're progressive, just like Hillary Clinton, and she uses the excuse of gender, sexism and misogyny. Donald Trump, the things he say. Words can go so far, but if you got policies that actually perpetuate detrimental policies to the people that Hillary Clinton and the DNC have done, and along with the Republicans, they're the same. Yeah, because they have a higher group economics that they do not break code across parties. They do not break that code. They do not break that code. When you're talking economics and policy, that's why. Just I listened to Brooks on your show, and he was talking about President Obama, his legacy and his policies. I like him and so forth. I don't care. I'm not looking for personality. I'm looking at the policies. President Obama, in the 8 years he was president, he was enacting the same stuff that has hurt communities after communities. Especially the death of black bodies. The imprisonment, Jim Crow. They even look at the housing, the policies and laws that's already on the books. Yeah. Yep. They and then we have these white liberals that get on TV, and Tom Hartman, Jank, and all of them, and MSNBC, and all this stuff after the fact. Right before the election, if you remember, they talked about how Jill Stein and the Libertarian Party was going to affect how the voting was coming. They already set up that narrative way before it happened. They already knew that. They were going to use that narrative line, put it out there in the media, use their news surrogates that actually work for them, that keeps the propaganda going, just like Rachel Maddow did, which she did. And she's smart and intelligent. When we have all these white, educated, black intellectuals and knowledgeable people, and they couldn't figure this shit out. Come on, they all in the same package. We have to stop pretending. We got to dig deep. If you don't vet and have a code for this stuff and call people out and to see if they're talking about being allies and working together, most of them are working for their own self-interest for them to move ahead in their professions and then, get on the inside and then, forget the other stuff, They talk this high-power stuff of unity and policies and, poverty. How long has this shit been happening? We have laws that been going on and they all stay silent. They don't come out when the little girl and was it down south where the police officer snatched her out of her chair. And where was all those women groups then? Where's all those feminists then? You know, and if anything pertains to black, then it's like it's identity politics. It's the black people.
You know what?
Then
You
they
know
put
what,
the black
Peter,
people out there to face. And I'm sick and tired of it.
This is what I get for keeping you on hold so long. I kept you on hold too long. You were writing down everything or remembering everything that you wanted to say.
I was trying to remember. I had so much inside of me. Then I can go on and on because it is just. It's like on the North Show, that guy with that new impact.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you, I don't disagree with you.
That's okay with me. I love a good fight.
Yeah. But we normally, we disagree sometimes, but I don't disagree with you this time. I don't disagree with you this time because what this election actually said was that we don't want your. So here's the funny thing about it. Republicans said, for the wrong reasons, the right answer. They said, we don't want your quote unquote Clintonism. The reason they said is because they just hate Clinton, right? Because the Republicans are perfectly okay with the policies of Clinton because the policies of Clinton helped them. They're across the board. The policies of the Clintons have always helped white Americans, wealthy Americans. There's nothing about the Clinton economic package that hurt any of those people that voted against them yesterday, with the exception of NAFTA, right? Pretty big exception. But that was a natural progression that we as America did not fight back against. So outside of the trade policies, you just talk about the tax cuts. You talk about the tax cuts that they didn't roll back. You talk about, they didn't hurt. They didn't destroy white America. White America acted like they got destroyed by the Clintons. But realistically, no, there was nothing set in motion from Bill Clinton that was not already set in motion that was going to hurt America in the first place. The trend towards globalism was not going to be stopped by the Clintons nor the Republicans, and that's what hurt America. So there's nothing that the Clintons did on top of globalism that hurt the Republicans any more than they were already going to be hurt. I said that to say this. The Republicans who voted against the Clintons yesterday, they may have made the right call on ending Clintonism, but they did it for the wrong reason. They did it because they feel like Donald Trump and the Republican Party is going to give them an economic package that's actually going to help them out, and that's not the case. That has never been the case. Yes, Donald Trump is different, but Donald Trump is still a capitalist. Donald Trump is himself a neoliberal. Donald Trump himself benefits from these trade agreements. He may tweak the TPP, but he is surrounded by people who are fully embracing the TPP. I would bet money with you right now that Donald Trump is not going to stop the TPP. So they stopped Clinton. They rejected Clintonism. But they didn't reject Clintonism because they actually want more progressivism. They rejected Clintonism because they just want Clintonism to come from Republicans. They just want to call it Reaganomics. They don't want to call it Clintonism. They want to be able to take credit for devastating poor middle-class people. All that to go back to say the reason I agree with you is because we have an opportunity to have this complete repudiation of this mushy, centrist Democratic Party. And anybody who's telling you that we should maintain this centrist-styled neoliberal Democratic Party needs to be the first person you slap the taste. Well, I'm sorry, don't slap the taste out of their mouth. You go to jail. Don't slap the taste, but slap them out of office. Make sure that they're out of office. Anybody who at this point says that we as America need to come back further to the right and come back to the center paid zero attention to what happened last night. So I'm all on board for it. Call it a litmus test, call it whatever you want to call it, but I'm all on board for us completely shutting down anybody who is playing that centrist politics that the DLC brought us. The DLC is dead. Let it be dead. Clintonism is gone. The Clinton Foundation is what's going to be the legacy. We should not see another Clinton in office in our lifetime. That being said, let's let it go. They're gone, stay gone. We need to put our energy in making sure that we uproot all of their centrist leaning infrastructures that keep centrist leaning Cory Booker and people like that in power. That infrastructure needs to go, and it needs to go quickly. All right. There's something else I was talking about with Hillary Clinton. I guess I have all the data here to show you how she lost. And I think it's worthwhile showing you how she lost versus everything that people are saying. And then I'll take this caller. Let's take a look at the, this absolutely. Well, okay, so this is not going to work. I could take this one. All right, let's take the graphics that I did properly format. If you look at the changes, this is from CNN. If you look at the changes in the voter turnout and the percentages that they got between 2012 and 2016, Hillary Clinton got 88% of the African-American vote. Donald Trump got 8%. Versus 2012, Barack Obama got 93%. So she lost some of the African-American vote, plus the African-American vote was down. Same with Latinos. She lost 6 points in the Latino vote. Versus Donald Trump actually gained. Donald Trump, only group that he didn't gain in is quote unquote millennials, 18 to 29. 54% went with Hillary Clinton as opposed to Donald Trump, Barack Obama rather, who got 60%. So Hillary Clinton lost the millennials. And then Donald Trump didn't change for Mitt Romney. They both got 37%. Those are those same college kids. They're younger brothers. That's all. Let me see if I can get another graphic up here for you guys. This is no good. This is no good. This is the income breakdown. You can see the numbers here underneath 30,000. This is an important graphic, right? Underneath $30,000 a year, 53% went with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton got all the lower brackets. 51% of people making less than $50,000 a year. 46% of people making between $50,000 and $99,000 went with Hillary Clinton. But that's the break point, right? You see a clear break. Donald Trump got the majority or the plurality in people making over $100,000 a year, people making up to $200,000 a year, and people making up to $250,000 a year, people making $250,000 a year or more. Donald Trump got the majority, or actually, no, he got the plurality in those four categories. The only categories of income that Hillary Clinton won the majority in would be people underneath $50,000 a year and people underneath $30,000 a year. People are tweeting this out and sending this out as an example of why this is not about class, but about race, because they're saying, well, class was pretty much evenly split amongst the candidates. So the only factor really could have been race. Okay. No, the factor could be that for the entire election, the liberal media elite, and I had Sarah Smarsh on the air discussing her article, Dangerous Idiots, how the liberal elite failed the working class. For the entire primary season, the media elite, liberal media elite, have been telling us that Donald Trump supporters are the working class white voters. Yeah, that's not what the data shows us. The data is showing us that, if anything, it's pretty much evenly split in terms of income. But what that actually means, what this means, though, they use this evenly split as a way of dismissing class, but it is a complete contradiction and repudiation of their argument that they made in the entire primary, which was the voters that are driving Donald Trump's success are poor white people. That's not what the data says. The data says that Donald Trump supporters, the income distribution is pretty much the same as Hillary Clinton's. That means that there are a lot of rich people who are supporting Donald Trump. There are a lot of middle class people who are supporting Donald Trump, and more working class people supported Hillary Clinton. So this completely eviscerates the idea that Donald Trump was promoted into the White House by poor white people, which blew me away because the Washington Post immediately came out with an article today talking about how Donald Trump won the backlash of the white working class. No, you simple-minded imbeciles. Donald Trump won because he rewrote the electorate. Donald Trump won because he motivated his base. Donald Trump won because he was an outsider on a change election year, and Hillary Clinton was a quintessential insider. Donald Trump also won because he panders and plays to those rich, white, racist, misogynistic pigs who make a game out of sexism, who make a game out of racism, and they have enough money to just prance around the country making light of all these situations. That's how he won. These people ain't broke. You're trying to make it seem like these are people in the trailer park. No, these are people who live in your neighborhood. These are people who eat sushi at your sushi bar. These are people that you'd like to say that you have some commonality with because all of us want what's best for America. We want what's best for the world. No, this person, when they leave your presence, they get online and they are the #1 perpetrators of this type of misogynistic, racist trope. But you spent the entire primary season blaming it on the poor white people, because they are an easy scapegoat. You could talk about them because you don't really have to drive to their neighborhood, but you can't talk about the rich white people who are purveyors of this racism and perpetrators of this racism because they live right next to you. So completely miss me with this entire narrative of poor people supporting Donald Trump when Donald Trump's support looks exactly like the rest of America: poor, middle class, and rich racist. Hillary Clinton also lost in the, okay, I could tell enough about I could see enough of this one to tell you. She lost in the older demographics, people 64 and older. There's no big surprise there, but this goes against the trope, right? They have to have a trope. It's somebody's fault. So let's blame the millennials. It's the millennials' fault. No, the millennials who did come out to vote voted for Hillary Clinton. So what are you saying? Oh, the rest of millennials, it's your fault because you didn't get up to vote. That's usually the indication that they don't have somebody for whom they are excited enough to go vote. Hillary Clinton lost gains, like she lost percentage points with women, with white women. She lost percentage point. I think she lost 10 points with white men. I mean, she couldn't appeal to white men because they made a sport. Now, yes, out of the 10 points that she lost, let me look at the numbers. I'm gonna make sure. I think it's about 10 points that she lost to white men. Out of those 10 points, I'll go ahead and cede you 8. 8 points of that 10 point were all just racist pigs anyway. Racist, misogynistic pigs. Fine, give you that. But some of those percentage points, which could have helped her because of how many white men are in America, even if she just got 2 points of that, I don't know the exact numbers, but if she got 2 points of that in the right state, it could have helped her to win. But this entire election season has been about why white men are the problem and Queen Slay Hillary is the solution. Y'all fooled yourselves. You fooled yourselves into thinking that you could, excuse my language, shit on the white America that actually voted for Barack Obama. I don't give 2 shits about the racist white America, Klan America, who would never vote for Barack Obama, who would never vote for anything but their hate. I don't care about them. You lost amongst demographics that previously supported Barack Obama. Meaning there are some white people that you've been shitting on all primary season that supported Barack Obama, and for whatever reason, whether it was your feces falling on their faces or whether it was the fact that they just hated Hillary Clinton more than they hated black people. Anyway, that's it. That's it. I'm from this point forward, I'm going to leave Hillary Clinton alone because she's gone. She's gone. She's going to make her money. She's going to make $1 million a speech. Y'all thought she made some money before. She's about to make $1 million a speech out in this bitch. She's gone, and I will be fascinated to see how many people can actually pivot from criticizing Hillary Clinton ad nauseum. And do you actually have content enough to not criticize Hillary Clinton? I don't know, but I do. And I'm not talking about Hillary Clinton anymore. What I'm talking about are the people who are left that want to carry on the Clintonism legacy. They must go. Bye, Felicia. All right, last but not least, I'm getting ready to go. Let me take this caller. I would be rude not to. I'm tired as hell. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
David, it's David out of New York. Hey, Ben, I'll try to keep it short, but I wanted to cover 3 points with you real quick.
Go for it.
So I'm going to include Hillary before it, and maybe I'll get the last mention ever of Hillary on your show. I think there's some silver lining that, for the most part, people are seeing, but for those that are missing it, it doesn't look like, I highly doubt Hillary's running again in 4 years. So we're free of of the Clintons governing us.
Yeah.
Right? They're gone. Their effect may not be. That's what should be of concern is Clintonism existing still, but the Clintons are no longer governing us. We can say goodbye to them because Chelsea's not in government, so, you know. And the other piece of silver lining, and I actually think this is a stronger bit, is that although Trump is the one that won, the fact that he's won is scaring the shit out of establishment, out of both parties, out of those that are in power and have been comfortable with the status quo. So it's kind of furthering the Tea Party thing, but at the same time, it does give us an opportunity, if we as progressives on the left use it, that they're all on guard. The establishment has no idea what to do at this point.
Yeah.
Every time they've turned, they've lost.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I think that
No, go ahead. Finish that thought.
Yeah, no, I do think that that's one silver lining.
Yeah.
Trump might be bad, but
I lost your audio there, David, but thank you for the call. I agree. They should be on guard, and not only on guard, they should be taken completely out of power. Nothing should be left of the Clinton machine. Nothing should be left. All right, last but not least, I don't know if I have enough energy to do this segment like I wanted to do it, but whatever. I'm going to at least go through it. I've got to give you a list of, I believe, 8. Yeah. Here are 8 liberal pundits that we should never hear from again after this election. All right. 8 liberal pundits that we should never hear from again after this election. Number 1, first and foremost, your boy, Jonathan Capehart. Jonathan Capehart brought you great hits such as Black People. If you really love the Obamas, you'll vote for Hillary Clinton. Jonathan Capehart continuously brought hit after hit playing identity politics, but not only playing identity politics, he was undermining a legitimate progressive candidate who was active in the civil rights movement, Bernie Sanders, by doing his hit piece saying that Bernie Sanders was not even present in the picture you see here, which ended up being a complete embarrassment for Jonathan Capehart because, as Adam Johnson of Raw Story stated, a Washington Post writer's attack on Bernie Sanders' civil rights record completely backfired. Yes, Jonathan Capehart, you are a liberal pundit that we never need to hear from again. Number 2.
You get nothing.
Yes. Number 2, the person that we don't want to hear from ever again. That's what I'm looking for. The candidate, Chris Matthews, is the liberal pundit that we never want to hear from again. Because Chris Matthews is the Cold War Democratic pundit who made sure that we started the Red Scare early on in the primaries. You will remember that Chris Matthews was the one who brought us the fear of Bernie Sanders' socialism by equating it to communism and making sure he asked everyone, would you vote for a communist? Do you want a communist? This is by virtue of none other than Chris Matthews. And Chris Matthews is a liberal pundit that we never want to hear from again. See you later, Chris Matthews. Number 3. America's white lady or white spokesperson. I'm sorry, Joan Walsh. Joan Walsh is here because she doesn't really have any significant hits. She's here because she really copied so many hits and she wrapped it in her ability to be the spokesperson of white America. She was supposed to be the cool white girl, the cool white lady, however you want to refer to her, like from the movie Mean Girls. She was the cool, she was the cool one that everyone should like and everyone should respect because she was willing to tell white people to get in their place. Well, you really did not help the situation at all in this election. And so, Joan Walsh, you are another liberal pundit that we never want to hear from again. I have no idea what number I am on, so I'm just going to keep going. Next, Paul Krugman, whatever you want to call him. Paul Krugman is a liberal commentator, pundit that we never want to hear from again, because Paul Krugman, despite being a Nobel Prize winning laureate, doesn't know basic math. He started this narrative yesterday. By the way, Jill Stein, this is a tweet on his screen. By the way, Jill Stein has managed to play Ralph Nader. Without her, Florida might have been saved. But, well, as we discussed earlier on this screen, Jill Stein only got 63,000 votes in Florida. Hillary Clinton would have needed more than 129,000 votes. So, Paul Krugman, you're on this page because not only are you struggling with your writing, you're also struggling with your arithmetic, and you are a liberal pundit that we never want to hear from again. Number whatever, we have Ezra Klein. Ezra Klein is the quintessential cool nerd, maybe. But what he is a person who turned a perfectly good explainer website that should have been used to disseminate pretty accurate information that's consumable by your average reader. He turned it, yes, you, he's pointing at himself saying me, yes, you, Ezra, you turned Vox.com into an apologetic site for Hillary Clinton, spewing propaganda. It may be too harsh, but I'm not feeling benevolent tonight. You are a liberal pundit that we never want to hear from again. Number whatever, we already talked about her. Rachel Maddow, who brought you such hits as saying that Bernie Sanders said that Hillary Clinton was unqualified. You remember the clip that, like Fox News, Rachel Maddow cut off at the very middle of the sentence to make it say what she wanted it to say. Not only did she do that, but she also brought you this, I guess this is supposed to be some type of analytic review from a Rhodes Scholar who is assuming that Hillary Clinton ever would have gotten 100% of the Jill Stein vote, that Hillary Clinton would have ever gotten 50% of the Gary Johnson vote. No, Rachel Maddow, you were wrong, and you are a liberal pundit that we never want to hear from again. I'm assuming that I'm at number 7 because I only have 2 more to go. Number 7. You know I couldn't go too far without Joy Ann Reid. I had to make sure I had a limited number of black people on here because I'm just not going to run too many black people on the ground because I am the real racist. I am the real racist trademark. Remember that. But I could not do this without pointing out the queen of the identity politics, black liberal media elite class that manipulated political discourse using identity politics to the detriment of the black community. The leader of the pack was none other than a person that I was formerly a fan of, Joy Ann Reid, who made sure that she found a way to justify everything Hillary Clinton has ever done that has hurt the black community, found a way to dismiss anything that Bernie Sanders has ever done to help or work with the black community, to say it more accurately, and did everything she possibly could to make sure that we ignored the reality that African Americans are facing in many communities by sending out hit tweets such as, yes, I know 28% of African Americans are living in poverty. That's bad, but not all of us are. Well, yeah, when more than 1/4 of your population is living in poverty, you don't want to start off with, well, I know 28%. You stop the sentence right there and say, how do we fix the 28% problem? Joy Ann Reid, and to go one step further, because I actually am a student of international politics, Joy Ann Reid has gotten the chance to pretend like she is a student of international politics so that she can pound the drums of the Red Scare. Joy Ann Reid, you are a liberal pundit. I'm sorry, my sister. I love my black women, but you are a liberal pundit that we never want to hear from again. Last but not least is, I think, the most nefarious of them all. This guy who brought us Robinson Meyer. I forgot his name that quick, which is good because we want to forget him. Robinson Meyer is the quintessential dude bro who projected his insecurities onto the entire world because he knew he was a douchebag. He knew he was a complete asshole, and he knew how he treated people online. And so he projected that into what we came to know during this election as the Bernie bro. There would be no Bernie bro narrative without this dude bro. There would be no Bernie bro narrative without this human being right here. There would be no relentless usage of Bernie bros by, by feminists who needed an easy trope, feminists who complain about using easy tropes in video games. Oh, Jesus, did I just open up Gamergate? They started using the easy trope of Bernie bros to beat back against Bernie Sanders. This would not have happened if not for this dude here, Robinson Meyer, who is the #1 liberal commentator that we never want to hear from again. There is plenty of blame to go around. The #1 blame rests with Hillary Clinton. But if you want to know all of the forces that were at play that undermined this election and gave it to Donald Trump, look no further than the DNC, Hillary Clinton, and those pundits that we never want to hear from again. Oh, but I'm not done because I got to give honorable mention. These are people who want to be pundits so bad, but they're not really pundits because, nobody really cares what they say. These are the honorable mentions of people we never want to hear from again. Propane Jane, congratulations, you made the list. Smooth Cobra, congratulations, you made the list, brother. Sadie Doyle, you made the list. Peter Dow, you made the list. And every single one of you who signed We Are the Left, guess what? You're not the left. We are, and we are here. Later.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support the Benjamin Dixon Show. It's Ben Dixon! If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.